I still kind of suck, but still, I feel like I'm a little bit better. So I feel like people like Numi, she worries about it too much. Like, not in a bad way, I appreciate that a lot. But I worry that she's worried about me bottling up my feelings. I swear to you, I'm not. I actually don't. Because this is how I think. If I bottle up my emotions, it will blow up. And if it explodes on stream, nah, no way in hell. You know, like, no way in hell. If I bottle up my feelings and one day I blow up and suddenly chat just hears random nuances, you know what I mean? Suddenly one day I'm like, chat, remember that thing that happened 3 years ago and 2 years ago and 1 year ago, blah, 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 blah. And then now chat's overwhelmed with everything that's happened. You're like, I didn't even know that existed. Or I didn't know that bothered you. That's overwhelming. And I'd rather not have anyone see that side of me. So I have no choice but to deal with my feelings because I stream a lot. So yeah, I think for most problems, I deal with it fast and quietly. That's the kind of person that I am. I don't need to vent too much. I don't need to cry too much. I don't need to be upset too much. I need 3 days maximum. If it's that bad, I need 3 days. Aside from that, I'm good. So yeah. There is a minus though. Sometimes I do tend to forget about it instead without digesting it, without me realizing. So I will be a bit more careful about it. Trust chat. I think Numi's worried about
better
it.
Than no progress. Baby steps. Can't change a lifetime of learned behavior in even a couple years.
Yeah,
Try
like
300.
I talked about this to chat where it's like when I was born, you know, like I'm the older sibling. I'm the eldest sibling. And my parents were working really hard to basically provide for the family, right? At that time, as a kid, you know, you don't notice that. You don't notice that your parents are busy because they want to provide for you. You only notice the fact that they're never there, right? So you're like, you feel like shit and you feel like your parents don't give a shit about you. The difference is when I was young, I had a younger brother. And my brother, and you've met him a little bit, he's a very sensitive person. Like my brother has a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions. And well, I wasn't raised to do it, but subconsciously I started doing it where I try to prioritize how he feels to make sure that he is okay first. So that's how I've grown up. I've kind of grown up with that habit of being like, shit. Like, it's okay. Let me think about like the positive side on what's going on and then make sure that you are okay first. And then I will hold on to this positivity until you're okay. You know, and I can hold on to that positivity for a very long time. So over time, when I was a kid, my positive was like, oh, at least they come back home. That was my positive. So I didn't have the, this is gonna sound so f***ing sad, but I swear it's not. Like, if anything, I feel like it made me who I am and I'm happy about it. Growing up until I was somewhat in college, I did not have the space to digest what I want or how I feel as a person, not as like an older sister or a daughter. You know what I mean? Like most of the things I thought about was like what I want as a daughter, what I want as a kid, what I want like as a child, or what I want as an older sibling, what I want as a sister, what I want as a friend or a coworker. It's different, but I never really had the space to digest what I wanted as just me, like purely just for my own sake, not involving anyone else. You know what I mean? So that was the point where I'm slowly starting to understand and I'm starting to be like, you know what? This is what I want. Like, it's okay to want something purely because you want it.
Girl,
it was
I
a different.
can relate.
Yeah.
My mom went to therapy with me once and we realized that my entire life I always put my little brother's feelings and needs before my own. Then as an adult I had to learn what I felt and what I want.
Exactly. And y'all already know back then my parents, they weren't the best. They were doing their best, but they weren't the best. Like, I know this might sound like an insult, but sadly this is a case for a lot of parents. They were a couple that weren't ready to be a parent yet, right? And it's not a bad thing. Sometimes things happen.
Thanks,
and they did their
Sam,
best.
for the one resub.
I'm never gonna put it against them because like you might be ready to be a lover, you might be ready to be a partner, but if you're not ready to be a parent and you are in a position where you have to be, you will make mistakes, and that's fine. I've forgiven them for it and we've talked about it, and that's fine. But at that time, you know, I had to deal with my brother and my mom and my dad. I'm kind of like that middleman in the family that's like, I'm chill with everyone. Like, you tell me your problems, then I can try and relay it, vice versa. So growing up, I've kind of, it's not that I was told to, I'm used to it, of like making sure everyone's all right by the end of the day. You know, like, why do you think now if something bad happens, my first instinct is to like cheer you up? Like, I don't try to address the problem, I cheer you up because that's how I learned as a kid to be like, oh, if they're sad and I make jokes or I do silly things, they laugh for a bit, they forget about it, and then they deal with their own problems and they're fine. So it's one of those things, you know, and I'm grateful for that because now I can do this. Like, this is now something that I'm pretty comfortable doing. Like, I'm not being like, oh, people are sad, what do I do? Like, I know when to sit down and like cheer you up first. Once you're happy, I'll be like, you want to talk about it? If not, that's fine. If yes, we'll talk about it. Something like that, right? So no joke, until around late middle high school to like college, that was when I was like, I want to prioritize myself. Like, I want to put myself
first.
first.
Chat said the other day, if you are doing the best you can, then you are doing the best. That is so true and
Yeah,
hit
exactly.
very hard.
Exactly.
High 500.
Like, I'm not gonna beat myself up over the way I grew up, because I did the best I could at that time. But now, when everyone's an adult and everyone has their own wants and wills, I need to have one of my own, you know? So that's what therapy taught me. Where it's like, sometimes it's okay to want something purely because you as a person want it. Because like, I don't know if anyone in chat could like, did you eat the other 2 bites? Yeah, I finished my bread, don't worry. But I don't know if anyone in chat can understand this type of mentality, but it's like, at one point I learned that I was a human on earth to set a path for myself. I am not simply just your sister or your child or your friend or someone you turn to or something for other people. Like, you are here in your world to make your own story and not to ensure that other people's story are smooth. That kind of feeling. So I'm learning to balance the like, I want to set my own course while at the same time I want to make sure that other people are also okay. I'm trying to balance it because I think if I only focus on myself, then I'll be selfish. That is true. That's a dangerous part. If all you can think about is like how you feel, and if you feel like you don't want it, then you have the right to leave. Well, I am the type of person that is like, if I'm not okay with it, but if I leave, it'll ruin everything, I will stay. Like, that is the kind of person that I am, where it's like, I tend to do that. But there are situations where it's like, if you leave, it will ruin the mood, but it's okay, then I should leave. You know, like, I need to balance that out. So I wouldn't call that like, oh, she's so nice and selfless. It's not. I feel like I am a person that is just recently, I know it's been 8 years, but still, that's quite recent compared to how long I've lived, right? But like,
Thanks.
I am a person that recently found out that, I don't know how to word it, that I'm a person with my own identity. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to conform or like change or appease others to make sure they're okay. Like, I recently found out that I am my own person and I have my own preferences and I have my own boundaries and I have my own likes and dislikes. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but not everyone was raised and taught that. Like, I feel like if anyone grew up in my situation, you would understand why that was so hard for me to realize. Because it's like, when everyone kind of, well, they don't ever say that they depend on you, but then the moment you're not there, they break down and bad happens, and the only factor that changes that is whether you care or not. You know, you grow up kind of wanting to make sure people are all right first. You know what I mean? I was dealt with the cards that I was dealt with, but hey, at least I realized it, and I'm okay with that because I realized it. Yeah, like, we're all still learning. Different people have different upbringing. Some people grew up and that you guys know exactly how you feel, exactly what you want, and you can do the things you want, and you can verbalize the way you feel, and that's met with acceptance, or it's met with compassion. People like me, if you do that, you are not met with compassion and you are not met with understanding. And as a kid, if that happens to you over and over again, I mean, the first thing you think about is, I shouldn't do that, right? But that is wrong. I will say this, that is not right. The way people treat you is not correct. However, it took me time to understand that, because like, you know, damn, I don't want trauma dump. I still don't, but like, you know, it's different. If you talk about how you feel and then it makes other people upset, then it ruins the mood. You're like, shit. Or like, you talk about the things you want, people are like, damn, we can't do that. You're like, shit. You know, you kind of reel back a little bit. So I am that kind of person, sadly. The exact opposite of what kind of person Numi is. Whereas Numi is like, I am frustrated and I will do this and I will do that. I will feel bad, but I will do it anyway. I am the type where it's like, shit, well, I'd rather not
feel alone in the way I am.
Exactly.
300.
I'm telling you, it's a different upbringing. You know what I mean? I will disagree. I think when Numi said like, people with my mentality of like, it is what it is, that's kind of privileged, I will say I think I disagree with that. but not in a bad way. Maybe I can understand why she would think that way, because some people, it's like you're forced to be in a situation where if you don't stand up for yourself, you're fucked, right? So you stand up for yourself. However, people like me, when you do stand up for yourself, then you're fucked. So that's how I was raised, where it's like the best, if you want to survive and you still want people to give a shit about you and you still want to have a place you can call home, you keep your head down and you conform. That is how I was raised. And is that proper? No. But hey, what can I do about it aside from changing now? So I'm grateful that I realized and I'm changing as a person, and I'm trying to balance out like when to keep my head down and when to stand up for myself. You know, like, is it the most balanced? No. But at least there is some effort put into it. So it's literally just depending on the person. And I know some people in chat would understand how this feels, where it's like, if at that time, like if I can turn back time, right? Ever since I'm a kid, I'm like, okay, young Michi, you gotta tell your parents that you want this, and you want them to do this, and you want your brother to do this, and you want this is what you want. If I did that as a kid, it ain't gonna go well. Like, it won't. Because my parents were not in that headspace where they were even ready to be parents. And my brother was a child. Like, am I supposed to expect a child to understand how I feel? At that time, even I don't know how I feel. And my parents, they were, well, they had ambition and they had goals, you know, and they wanted to get something for themselves. You think they would understand? No. No one would understand. People would literally just see me and go like, what you want then? Then what? Now people are just upset. And like, people...
I would have loved to be able to open about what I felt and stand up, but I never felt like I could do that.
Yup.
However, I have never been that kind of person. Now I open a little bit.
Yup.
It may seem like a small amount, but is a lot for me.
Me too!
Like 300.
Me too! That's why when I told Numi's like, you know, it's okay, you're doing your best. I'm glad she knows that I'm doing it. Because like, even though it might not seem like a big thing, it is a big thing for me. Because like, it's not normal. That's not how I was raised. You know, like, I'm raised to see confrontation as not the best thing. Avoidance as the only option. Kind of a thing. You know, it's different. Everyone's raised. How you were raised doesn't make you who you are. Your actions moving forward will determine the person that you will be. So I choose to work on the me now. I'm not gonna look back and being like, shit, that's how I was raised, so I guess I'll give up. Like, no. The suckiest thing growing up is realizing people will fuck up you, and you are the only person that can fix yourself. That will sound like shit. That's true. And what else can you do about it? If you give up on yourself, no one's gonna work on you. So you gotta have to unfuck what other people fucked over. That's just part of growing up, man. You take it or you want to ignore it. It's up to you. So yeah, ever since I was young, like, I don't have the space to do that. Now I am grateful that I'm surrounded by people that are willing to be open about it. I have to be a bit more gentle, but it's different. You know, I've spoken about this before, so I'm not going to consider this as trauma dumping, but I've spoken about how my mother a long time ago used to be a bit more, you know, she takes the I'm yumping card very fast.
Cultural pressure from certain parents can mold you into feeling like you must be unseen and a people pleaser. So you ultimately learn to destroy strong emotions internally and avoid strong desires and ambitions.
Yeah. Like, my mom, when I was younger, she was the more happy to take that yump card any day kind of a person, is the nicest way I can say it. And my dad is the type of person that's he had anger issues, and he wanted me to, well, my whole goal for a successful life was to marry rich. So that was kind of how I was raised. It's kind of to be a good wife kind of a thing, and to take care, right? So it's a different way. There's a lot of factors towards it. It's not a bad thing because it made me who I am today, and I appreciate it. You know, like, I appreciate the fact that
my childhood
I'm the way I am.
Not by what do I want, but do I have any choice? If I don't do it, then who will?
Yep.
I lost a lot of time to that, and I do want people to understand that saying then don't do it is not a solution.
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy to see you moving forward and that you're now better equipped to do so. You deserve not just happiness, but hopes and dreams.
That's me at you too. That's me at you, chat. Because, well, our options were f***ass limited. So when Numi was like, you know, I feel like it's privileged, I do understand where she's coming from. But at the same time, I also disagree. Because I'm the way I am because I have no choice. If I wasn't the way I am, I'd be dead. I am not even kidding you, chat. I'd be dead. The times I disagreed with my mother, she dropped me off at an orphanage. It's a funny story now, but at that time as a kid, that scared the living shit out of me. But as a kid, that scared me. But growing up now, it's a funny story because it was kind of funny because I bring it up to my mom and my mom's like, "Stop bringing it up, man. I apologized about it." And I'm like, "Yeah, you did. Remember that one time? Remember that one time you did that?" Yeah, listen, I get to laugh at my own trauma, but it wasn't funny back then. Now, I'll laugh at it.
Have any couch cushions? Asking for a friend.
Now, my mom used to do that. I still think one of the funniest thing that happened to it was like as a kid, I was such a giver-upper, bro. This has got to be like one of the biggest testament of like, damn, you were really a giver-upper. So when that happened, right? If you were a kid and that happened to you, you could maybe react in different ways. You could be like, "Oh my god, I'm so scared. I'm never gonna do that again." Or maybe you get mad or you get upset. You're like, "Shit, I'm not even safe." Blah blah. You know how I reacted? The first time that happened to me, I was like, "I'm so sad," right? The second time it happened to me, I was like, "I knew it." And then I packed chips for bribery. My mind went instantly to like, all right, I'm gonna bribe the person in the orphanage to drive my ass back home. You are never gonna catch me lacking again, bitch. So I already like, then my mom was like, "Pack your bags." And I did. My bags was full of like toys and chips and shit, like bartering goodies. And I'm like, I got dropped off and I'm like, "Hey, can you give me a ride back home?" Check it, I got snacks. Because the first time I had to waddle the fuck, I had to do my walk of shame. Yeah. 1,000 IQ play. Listen, you give me the cards, I'll deal with it. I'm not gonna fight against it. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh man, I don't like these cards." What did that do? Nothing. You know what I'm gonna do? Bribe. The fact that little me instantly just thought about bribing. I still think that's the funniest thing. Until today, I'm still like, damn, I'm really just a giver-upper. I just be like, shit happens to me. Let's take the most beneficial way, right? Like when bad things happen, at least I have a surfboard. You know what I mean? The waves hit, but I surf. Hell yeah. And that's the kind of person that I am. I'm gonna be real with you, chat. If I wasn't that way, I think I'd be dead. Because like that kind of mentality got me to surviving now. At what age was that? Like I was like 8 and like 9 and like 10 and like I was a kid. But I was a funny kid. Listen, I take joy in it. Until today, people still be like, "Hey, you're the one with the kid that bribed that orphanage lady."
How long until walkies again?
Walkies! Oh my god, in like 6 hours. Oops. How many times? I'm just really good at bribing. I don't know what to tell you, chat.
My parents were too busy do drugs and alcohol to raise a kid. I never learned to save my money, so now I give it all to VTubers.
I'm gonna teach you how to save your money, okay? No, don't give me money. You save your goddamn money. You work hard on it. You have the right to spend it on something you like. So I'm telling you, does that sound like a bad story? Yes, but I went to therapy. I've dealt with it. I've confronted my parents. They apologized profusely about it. Until today, they still apologize because they're like, "I'm so sorry."
My parents taught me to give into my vices.
It's okay.
So here you go, Michi.
Okay, man. All right. Listen, I think the best case scenario happened because we've apologized, we've moved on from it, and I'm okay with it.
Spending the money on something I like.
Man, you shut your mouth, chat. Thank you so much, but take care of yourself.
Don't act like you don't know we like spending money on you.
I want you guys to treat yourself too. But TLDR, chat, just from those very little stories, by the way, now you know the kind of person that I am and why I am the kind of person that I am. Like, imagine if you were raised in a place where if you were to speak up or want something or fight for something you want or you're stubborn about it, that happens.
Those chips
Hell nah.
Delicious. You got any more?
Yeah, I got more in the bag. I got more. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Now I'm like this because listen, man, at that time, if I was focusing on the possibility of the bad things, I'd die.
Reminds me of a similar experience, Lamau. My mom dropped me off near some train tracks like 2 minutes away from my house in a forest. First time I was scared. Second time I literally didn't care. Got out the car and slowly but calmly walked all the way back home through 2 minutes of forest in the dark. And it never happened again. I was like 8 years old too.
Yeah, you see, that's why. I feel like originally
today
I'm
is
like
payday
this.
And next month I'll get a raise.
What
Take the money. Resistance is futile.
Congratulations on the raise. I'm so proud of you. Check in. We have a round of applause. It's okay. No sad, chat. No sad. I like to think about the positive, you know? Like back then, I looked at the positive because that was the only way I could contain hope in me. But now, I look at the positives because there are so many people that believe in me and so many people that are rooting for me. And honestly, looking at the positive isn't so hard anymore. Back then, I had to really copium myself to be like, look at at the bright side. You know what I mean? Like, look at the bright side. You learn these things. Like, I used to have to force myself, but nowadays I'm like, it's so easy. Like, the positive exists. And that's thanks to you, thanks to my friends, my
Michi,
family,
you and
everyone.
chat made my brain feel whole again. Thanks.
Goddamn,
Here, take my
Lulu.
money. Living in a box.
Living in a
cardboard
cardboard box. So don't worry, chat. It's not
Go
bad.
to bed, Papu.
I will go to bed. I'm gonna tell my mods real quick. I will say, chat, I know I told you that, and it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of dark.
Michi,
Don't
I'm
worry.
worrying about the chips now. Are they doing okay in the bag? Do you think they're afraid of the dark? Do they miss the friends you already ate? Cage Curra got scammed for $3.33. 10 out of 10 communication, clappies. Who has the communication degree now? Make a Power Yuri play for number 1 a plus spot.
God damn.